My name is Jeffrey Bibbee. I'm a professor in the history department, and this is my 12th year at UNA. My first job here actually was as a visiting lecturer, and that was right out of graduate school. I finished my PhD at King's College London, and then I got a tenure track job here in the department teaching British history. Well, as the only British historian on the faculty, I kind of always joke that I teach everything from Magna Carta to Margaret Thatcher, so I cover the whole gamut of British studies. I am, though, I think at my heart, a biographical historian, so I like to teach people. Whether it's the famous people that we would all know, a king or a queen or a prime minister, or somebody who is far less known. I think that we understand history so much better when we can relate to individuals and see how their experiences would be quite similar to our experiences. We're really, in the end, we're all people, and we all have many of the same reactions that anybody would have to different events or different issues that happen in our lives. So that's really probably the way I approach my classes the most. A history degree is about developing skills. Every historian can communicate, they can research, they can write, they can tell a story, they can persuade, they can analyze. There's so many things that historians can do. So really every career field is open to a historian if you approach it in the right way. I think for anybody who wants to study history, probably the most critical thing to do is read, and read everything. Literature informs our understanding of history. Watch movies, read textbooks, read monographs, read articles, anything that just helps you expand your worldview. Well, there's so many projects that I've been able to be involved in my time on the faculty here at UNA, but I always say the most rewarding teaching I ever get to do is study abroad. And I think the most critical thing that any student can do while they're a student at UNA is to take a trip. And whether you're doing a study away trip to Memphis with some of our faculty that are studying public history or working in African American history, or you take a trip to London with me, getting out and seeing the world and doing it through an academic lens. Traveling and just kind of being a passive observer isn't really enough. You need to go and be actively engaged in the culture, researching topics and meeting people, talking to people. It's the very best thing you can do. And it will be the one experience I think that you can guarantee will stay with you the rest of your life. So I've actually led 10 study abroad trips to London since I started here at UNA. This last trip was in May of 2019, and it was through a research project that I was involved in called the Georgian Papers Program. So students had an opportunity to visit various museums, to spend some time with the archivists and researchers at Windsor Castle, working through an 18th century collection that's now becoming a database that our students are actively engaged in promoting and developing. So we had a chance to go into the middle of Windsor Castle, to the Round Tower, to an ancient archive that contains documents that go clear back to the Middle Ages. And it's not open to the public. You have to be a researcher. You have to be specially credentialed to enter it. So our student group from UNA was actually the second university group ever to be credentialed to go into the Royal Archives. It was a phenomenal experience. We saw George III's letter where he first confirmed that he was going to lose the American Revolutionary War. We got to see the charter that created St. George's Chapel, which is the royal chapel there at Windsor Castle. It was just an overwhelming behind-the-scenes experience of how an archive works, seeing those documents, and then more excitingly seeing how our students can be part of the creation of an international interdisciplinary database.